Want to find out who's responsible for making purchase decisions? You can't ignore the person you're speaking to, but you want to speak to the decision maker. Let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk because you have to be careful in how you word this question, and I'll tell you just how to do it.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
There are a number of important questions that every salesperson must ask. Some of these questions involve gaining a commitment to change, the clarification of objections, earning the client's trust, or even creating urgency. Some questions involve a final commitment to actually making a commitment. But there's one other question that comes very early in the conversation, and it can lead to either a great talk or a waste of time. The question I'm referring to involves the confirmation that you're actually speaking to the right person. Often this question is asked in a closed and flawed manner. Let me provide you with an example. You're meeting with a new client for the first time, and early on in the conversation, you need to make sure you're talking with the right person. You ask this question: will you be the person who's in charge of making this purchase decision? It doesn't get much easier than that, does it? You ask this question in a straightforward and yet terribly flawed way. I can't tell you how many times I've been told by salespeople, I ask my prospects if they're the decision makers, and they tell me they are, and then later in the process, I realize they aren't. I can't do more than ask. In fact, it's a case of asking almost the right question. When I was 21 years old, my first week working for New York Life, I remember a day when the Canon copier rep came in to try and sell us new office copiers. I could not have been lower on the totem pole in the company, but I was the one asked to meet with the sales rep to hear his or her sales pitch. I was fully prepared to spend as little time with him or her as possible when there was a knock at the door and in walked one of the most attractive women I have ever seen. In that I was young, single, and human, I remember being asked almost the right question. Will you be the person who's in charge of making this purchase decision? With a slight crack in my voice, my libido/ego forced me to answer her question in a proud but dishonest way. Yes, I am. And therein lies the problem with asking almost the right question. When you ask people if they're the ones in charge of making the decisions, you force them to be dishonest. Imagine if I'd given the real answer to her question. No, I'm not the person in charge of making this or any decisions here at this office. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty much the low man on the totem pole here. Hey, would you like to go out and catch a movie sometime? So now that we've taken a look at asking almost the right question, let's move a few words around and make it the right question. If you want to find out who's in charge of making a purchase decision, why not ask the question this way? Who besides yourself will be responsible for making this purchase decision? It's just a word or two, but by changing the question in this way, you're allowing the people involved to provide an honest answer without embarrassing themselves or overstating their real positions. Such a simple concept, yet a great example of how the wording of a question can be the key to getting the correct answer. I think Mark Twain said it best. The difference between the almost right word and the right word is really a large matter. It's the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.